This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and I'm here with Ryan Weimer. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, how's it going? Excited to share some value with you guys in this crazy market we're dealing with.
Yeah, it is nuts. So Ryan, you invest in Boise, but you live in London, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we moved across the pond about 6 months ago. So I've always set up the team virtual from the start. It's part of what aligns with our values and loving to travel and having world experiences and time freedom and life freedom. So I set everything up to work virtually, and here we are.
That's pretty crazy. So give everybody a little bit of background on how you got into real estate and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background's in mechanical engineering. I was traveling all over the world as a project manager in the semiconductor space, but somewhere along the line, it stopped giving me joy and fulfillment in my role, and I wanted a way to achieve true financial freedom and time freedom and make my own decisions and not answer to anybody else, and that was through real estate. So about 5 or 6 years ago, me and a buddy just bought a single-family rental property 50-50 in the Boise market. I was living in San Diego at the time, and there's no way you're getting anything that cash flows there. So Boise was still pretty cheap at the time, and that's just how it got started, just with one simple single family.
So what do you guys do now? Do you do a lot of wholesaling, flipping, or what?
Sure, yeah. So now fast forward, we're up to 16 employees. We do everything from wholesaling, flipping, rental properties, Airbnbs, and new development too. So we do townhomes and multifamily apartments for new construction.
Okay, nice. That's pretty cool. What are you guys seeing in the market? Because I know Boise's having big everywhere's having swings, but Boise's like up and down. Like, what are you seeing there?
Yeah. So much like your Salt Lake cities and Phoenix, Boise has been the poster child for appreciation during COVID. I think it was up about 40 to 45% in a 2.5 to 3 year time period. And now it's already down 25% year to date this year. And it just went negative year over year for median price. So it's been quite the roller coaster. The first 5 months of the year before interest rates changed, things were going bananas. It was 10 offers first weekend, way over asking price for anything listed. And now you're lucky to get 10 people to go see the property any given week. I mean, it's pretty bleak. And now Boise actually leads the nation in price reductions per listings. 7 out of every 10 homes on the market is having a price reduction.
Really? Yeah, and it's crazy right now. So I mean, if you're flipping, people are getting stuck holding the bag because they can't sell it. They have to keep dropping. Yeah, it's just an insane market.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing that work? What are you seeing that's working now that wasn't working? Like, how are you adapting?
Yeah, it's a lot of in and out. We're staying away from heavy fixers. We're actually leaning towards doing more new development than we are major flips. I mean, anything that we're putting under contract, we're first looking to wholesale. Before, when things were appreciating like crazy, we would probably take down or keep 7 out of every 10. And now we're wholesaling 7 out of every 10. So it's just a shift in also method of acquisition and your cash conversion cycle. So if you're wholesaling, you have more money coming in on a regular basis. And if you're acquiring these creatively with seller finance or subject twos and getting those really low interest rates that are long gone, those kind of deals are incredibly desirable now, even though the market has fallen 25%. So
yeah, and you're right. Yeah, you do need to pivot. Like say with the sub 2 deal, stuff like that, less cash out of pocket, so you're not getting stuck because we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. We don't. So the way that you get out of this is you add more things to your tool belt. You get a little scrappy, right? You look at deals through a different lens, stuff that cash flows day one, and that is in the bottom third median price point. So in our market, that's anything from 150 to 350 is still moving pretty well. And that's where we're focusing all of our marketing into that bucket. So we either get those deals creatively, they cash flow day one with some kind of low entry fee or down payment, or we get those under contract cash and then wholesale them or even take them on, but that's more rare these days.
So now, I know a lot of investors are stressed when they're investing in their backyard. What are your stress levels being in England, seeing what's going on over here? Like, what are you dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, this year has been so crazy. Everyone knew that interest rates were going to come up. I don't think people predicted they would double in 4 months' time, right? So, absolutely, as an entrepreneur, your mindset through times of adversity is everything. Like, you have to protect your personal confidence even when things aren't going your way, and also when things are going your way, so you don't have an inflated ego and make poor decisions on that. So to answer your question, like, it really comes down to focusing on what can I control in this exact moment. And being virtual just makes it a lot easier to see where our weak spots are, because I have to rely a lot more on the team in Boise to do what they're supposed to do. And most of the time, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, or we're not doing it to a high enough level, it's almost always a training issue, or we didn't set the right expectations. And so I think is it a challenge running things virtually? Totally. But it's also an opportunity to see where your weak spots are and improve on those pretty quickly. So that's how I look at that.
How big's your team?
We're up to 16 right now, and we're actually looking to hire additional salespeople. So the number one thing that we get asked is, people are doing layoffs. You got the tech industry laying a bunch of people off, recession. It's scary out there. The way out of any rough patch is sales. Like, you got to get back to the basics. You got to jump in there with your team maybe at times as the leader and get your hands dirty in the sales org. You got to do what needs to get done to move product. And while a lot of people will take their foot off the gas and maybe cut some staff, it shouldn't be in your sales department, because we're reaching, in the near term, of course, it's difficult to adjust to a market that's been crazy hot and now is cold, but it also provides opportunity that we haven't seen in a decade. So you have to prime yourself for that opportunity. You have to be ready to take advantage. So whether you're a one-man band or you're a company, those sales skills and salespeople are going to be what get you through and what's going to gain you market share during this time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you there. You were talking about mindset. Like, what are some things that you do to keep your head in the game? Being in business, it's a constant roller coaster. You're ping-ponging around. Like, I know what I do. What's the stuff that you do that keeps you focused?
Sure. We do affirmations and gratitude every week with our team. So in our daily huddles, we're sharing affirmations and points of positivity, and then we're also sharing our gratitude, because our problems are all relative to us, and a lot of times our problems are first world problems, and it's good to remind ourselves of that to help keep us grounded and not have us overly stress about things that don't really have that much of an impact on our lives. Beyond that, it's about taking enough chips off the table and being defensive and conservative in how you're maneuvering personally, so that your foundation is protected. If your foundation is protected, you're still operating from a point of stability, and you're primed to take advantage of these kind of opportunities. You're not when that moment is right to strike, to really take advantage of this time, you're not hindered by I don't have the cash, or I'm not sure about this project, or this is weighing on me. You're really acting from a point of strength and stability. So if you're not already making some defensive maneuvers to take some chips off the table and get yourself ready, I think there's still more pain to come. So it's definitely not too late.
You know what? That's such a good point too, because I know a lot of people, especially when they're scaling, they're like, hey, keep reinvesting in the business, which is fine. But a lot of people do forget to take the chips off the table, because if the market changes, you need to be secure to be able to make good decisions. Otherwise, you're in panic mode.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that.
Like, what are you doing? Are you taking a specific percent of profits, or what do you take?
Yeah, I've been guilty of that too. I think probably when times are good, we maybe, I sort of have the opposite problem of most people. We probably kept too many. We should have just sold some and held on to some extra liquidity. Although, hindsight's 2020. It's just hard to predict what can happen. But right now, like if I've got a vacancy in one of our, we've got just over 40 rentals personally, and then we have a few more in the business and our new construction. As something becomes vacant, we're just looking at it through a different lens of, is this really in a neighborhood that I can either cash flow in significantly and my cash on cash return is solid right now, or you know what, this was a fringe property or neighborhood that we just decided to keep because the market was going up, and now even though we're going to take, $75K less or $100K less than what it would have sold for 6 months ago, we still need to have that extra cash to capitalize here in another 6 months. And so I think it's a difficult question to answer, but you kind of got to check your ego and be okay with taking some near-term losses on some of your stuff if that's what it takes to get you into that solid liquidity position.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Back to your talk about mindset, whenever you're dealing with your team, I was thinking, okay, we're talking about mindset like personally, but yeah, you take it to your team also, because yeah, you're right. Everybody's dealing with different problems. So sometimes your big problems might not be really that big, and you're looking at it differently. Like what kind of what do you see in the benefits on having those conversations with the teams? Like, how's that playing out?
I think it just gives people the right perspective to go attack. Like, they're not thinking about, oh, I wish I could have done that, or I wish I could have done this, or I'm worried about this happening. Instead, it gives them a standpoint of, you know what, my problems really aren't that bad. I don't have anything to worry about. Let me just go do what I'm supposed to do, and let me do it to the best of my ability. It almost eliminates all the woulda, shoulda, coulda talk in your head that can be, negative, because your self-talk is everything. What you tell yourself, you become. And that's why, even though affirmations sound a little silly to a lot of people, or even when you're doing them to yourself, I'm going to be a badass today. I'm going to call 10 lenders and develop new relationships. I'm going to put my head down and only focus on the things that I can control. Like, saying that stuff to yourself out loud in front of a mirror sounds really silly and stupid, but it triggers your subconscious mind to believe it. So that's why we do it. It works. It works. You just have to really commit yourself to it, and it's all about having perspective too.
Yeah, and you're right too. Like, I'm with you on that, because like I do the same. Like, what you think about is going to be what happens in the future. Like, you're looking at your future self, right? So you're trying to plan. Okay,
absolutely.
Here's what I want to do, and that stuff is so important. I think a lot of people don't do that. Even like we were just at the CG event, Medley's talking about, I don't know if you saw the videos before, about his story and writing out, here's what I predict my 2023 to be, and then reading it every single day. Like, it just ingrains that kind of stuff into you.
Yeah, and the reason for that is your actions align with that. They inevitably align with whatever you think. So if you're going into your day stressed and you're hectic and your mind's all over the place, you're jumping from one task to another, and you're not really putting in focus into anything, your results are going to be that, right? So that's why it takes really intentional thought and dedicated practice, whether it's writing something down or saying something out loud, that really puts you in that correct frame of mind to attack and focus on whatever that one thing is that's going to get you results.
Yeah. Now, what do you recommend people do? Like, what the stuff that's worked for you, what do you recommend? Say somebody's out there, they're just crushing it, rolling right now. They don't really set real goals and think like that. Like, what would you say the first step if you wanted to do something like that? What would you recommend?
Yep. So my answer to that is always, you got to define what you want. And that is a difficult exercise to get really granular on what do I want. Am I trying to get myself out of a job as quickly as possible? Am I wanting to own an NFL team and buy a jet? Like, you have to really define what that is that you want, even if it's just that very next thing. Like, you know what? I want to be able to spend 1 more hour a day with my family. Let me work backwards from that and define what actions. I know that would probably be challenging and difficult, but what if I could do that? What would that look like? What would I need to do? Okay, well, maybe I'd need to, eat lunch while working, or maybe I'd need to get to the office a little bit earlier, or maybe I need to buy 1 rental property a year that cash flows this much so I can replace my income 10 years from now and be able to quit my job. Like, you have to go through that really nitty-gritty exercise of defining what you want, because most people don't take the time to do that because it's uncomfortable and they think that I could never do that. What's the point in even thinking about it? Like, only wealthy people invest in real estate. Only wealthy people can quit their job. And if you're just shutting your mind off from its best quality, which is creativity and coming up with new ideas and actually bridging the gap between what you don't think is possible and what is possible, it's just all in your head.
And that's true too. And it is all in the head, because like you're saying, only the wealthy can invest in real estate. That's like, anybody can do anything they want to do. And I also found most things that you don't know how to do are totally different than what you predict they're going to be like. You're picturing buying a house is going to be all this process and things like that. But in reality, it's a lot simpler. I mean, it's still a lot of work, but it doesn't have most of the things most people are thinking all the time. It's like, what can go wrong? 99% of those things aren't going to happen.
Yeah. No, so, yeah.
So yeah, mindset's huge.
Yeah. So a couple actionable steps that I can give your audience to get to really, really produce a lot of near-term results. Number 1, on social media, if you're not following or paying attention to accounts or people that really resonate with you or your future self and where you want to be, and it's a bunch of crap content or time-wasting stuff, unfollow all that stuff. Unfollow all the people that aren't getting you to the best version of yourself, and start following those people that will actually influence that and that you see as your future self. That's one step. The second step is track your net worth, at least on a quarterly basis. Preferably a monthly or bi-monthly basis. But tracking your net worth is a powerful tool to, again, give you that perspective of, wow, I'm having a great year. Do I need to take some chips off the table and prepare for the storm? Or, we're having a rough year. Where am I at? Is my foundation protected? Do I need to make any maneuvers to protect that? And it's just a good exercise to give you a point in time, relative to where you want to go and what your goals are, so that you can make decisions from that data, really, and you're not just making subjective decisions.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Yeah, checking your net worth monthly is interesting. I never thought to do that. Because usually you check it like once a year when you need a loan. But yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, Ryan, what's the, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to connect?
Yeah, you can follow me at Weimer Investments on Instagram. That's probably the best way to get in contact with me. A lot of markets are going through some weird stuff right now, especially on the new build side of things. So much uncertainty. If you guys need any help or have any questions, shoot me a message on there. I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, we're about out of time. Hey, what's your top book you'd recommend?
My top book. I'm going to say The One Thing by Gary Keller. I just as your classic entrepreneur, I struggle with shiny object syndrome on a regular basis. And if you have any visionary in you, you're also going to struggle with that. That book just helps me stay focused and have singularity of focus. I'm the kind of guy that if I'm not careful about that, I'll jump from task to task to task throughout the day. And I continuously need to remind myself, nope, just pick this one thing and focus on it first, because that gets you results. And then you can do all that other stuff. So that helps me.
Yeah, shiny objects, tough too. Say, okay, cool. All right, hey, well, thanks, man. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to Ryan on Instagram. What's your handle again, Ryan?
It's at Weimer Investments, Weimer Investments.
All right, cool, man. Hey, and everyone, thanks for listening. Tune in next week. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.